It takes visionary leadership and expertise to understand the customer's psyche. So ladies, this morning at IMA Women Conclave, we are honored to have such a corporate leader with us, Ms. Avani Davda. I request our committee member, CA Ishani Maheshwari, to escort our speaker, Ms. Avani Davda, on the stage, please. As it says, products are made in the factory, but brands are created in mind. Whether it's cosmetic, groceries, coffee, or any retail experience, the power of branding is undeniable. When she writes the brand, she impacts millions. And as the law of affection says, to make millions, you have to impact millions. She has followed law of affection bit by bit. With every brand, every project, every company she has led throughout her corporate journey. Welcome, Avani, to IMA Women Conclave. I may now request Dr. Paramjit Tuneja, Director of Capco Industries, to welcome our guest speaker with a sapling and a mementos. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request AV team to play the video, please?
Ms. Avani Davda, Independent Director at Persistent Systems Limited, Imami Limited, Mumbai. Avani Davda is a business leader with over 20 years of experience in consumer, retail and hospitality industries. She possesses extensive experience in digital transformation, new market entry, product and service design, as well as omni-channel customer journey design with iconic brands like Starbucks, Tata and Taj. Her commitment extends to addressing malnutrition issues, particularly in children, through her role on the advisory board of the Akshay Patra Foundation. She currently serves as an independent director on the boards of Imami Limited, Persistent Systems, NIIT and Mahindra Logistics, contributing her expertise to various sectors. Avani Davda's remarkable journey in the corporate world, her passion for creating sustainable change and her commitment to excellence make her a truly inspiring leader and speaker. Please join me in welcoming Avani Davda.
Thank you, team. Over to you, ma'am.
बिजनेस की कमान अगर सही हाथों में दो तो बिजनेस को सफल होने से, फ्लरिश होने से कोई नहीं रोक सकता। युद्ध में अगर लगाम सही हाथों में हो तो युद्ध में जीत निश्चित है। So if you give powers to the right person, and you will see that things are transforming very rapidly, very soon. Give any brand to Avani, and the brand will grow rapidly. You can see the brand spreading nationwide, and the brand is becoming huge. A very good morning to all the beautiful ladies. Very good morning, Avani. And I'm already filled with joy. I'm thrilled with joy and ardent to listen from such a strategic business thinker, from such an iconic leader. Please give a big round of applause to Avani Davda. Before I actually move to my session, and before I actually have an insightful learning from Avani, may I just have, let me show you, Avani, how many homemakers, entrepreneurs, and micro entrepreneurs, and the people sitting here who wanted to scale up their brands. And what we'll do is, can you just flash on the lights of the mobile that Avani please help us? We want to scale our brand. All the brand owners, all the business people can flash. See, Avani, this is the aura of our hall. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies, for the kind gestures. Well, at the age of 33, people are struggling for their first job. People are getting married. People are really worried about the work. And at the age of the 33, she is adorned and designated as CEO. How does it make you feel, Avani?
First of all, thank you so much. It's been a privilege and an honor to be amongst so many dynamic young women leaders, as well as thank you, Mr. Rati, for hosting us. It's really, just very inspiring to be in Indore. And one of my colleagues at Persistent, when he mentioned, I was really thrilled because I've heard so much about the city, so much about the way it's growing, not just from an infrastructure point of view, but just the spirit here. So somebody asked me, what will you go back and think about Indore? To me, it's the relentless spirit and the new India that you really capture. So thank you for inviting me here, and lovely to be here. For me, I've always believed that age is a number. When I was, a lot of people reposed their faith in me when they gave me the responsibility to open the market for Starbucks here. I did feel, of course, very fortunate, very thrilled. More than nervousness, I think it was an attitude to say I have to deliver to the expectations of people who have taken a bet on me. So I think that sense of putting your head down and getting it done was very, very important to me. More than that, I think leadership at a young age also poses its own set of challenges, both emotional as well as intellectual. You do come out as a new kid on the block trying to prove your point or trying to prove your existence. But very early on, I think, fortunately, to have the guidance of great leaders from both the partners of the JV, I understood that it's about winning the confidence of your team. And that takes time, that takes patience, that also takes a lot of understanding, not just of the consumer, but being responsible for their careers. So while, I was given the opportunity and was lucky to get a lot of love from lots of people, a lot of support, but I think managing the team was the most critical task for me because I could not make the brand successful. I think no individual, even as an entrepreneur, I would encourage most of you to not get carried away by the stereotype of entrepreneurs who think that they can make, whether it's apps or whether it's technology. I don't think success comes in any walk of life by thinking that you can achieve it on your own. Did I know it when I was 33? No, I didn't. I think an entire army of people taught me that, both at home and at work. So I think the most important memory that I have when I was given this opportunity was to be able to, not just fulfill my aspiration, but to make sure that people who worked on the team moved ahead. And I am so happy that the brand is almost 10 years old in the country. And the team that leads it today was the part of the founding team. So you look at most of the departments head at Tata Starbucks today, they've all been there since the company started. So I think the fact that their careers have blossomed and they have taken roles and taken the brand ahead gives me the satisfaction that maybe I did the right thing and maybe did a few wrong things, but mostly right because they've achieved the leadership position, they've kind of taken the brand to the next level. So yes, leadership at young age comes with a lot of challenges, but the time has changed. I meet so many young people that today are starting their companies at 20 who are so far more risk-taking than I was humbly at my age. So I think age is a number. Don't put pressure on yourself or any timeline, but just go out there and do something that you're very passionate about. And remember, it's not a story that you can author alone. I think anyone who believes that you can achieve it all by yourself is delusional.
Wow. It's okay. there are many brand owners, entrepreneurs right now, and the people who makers are here who really want to scale up their skills. Maybe they are having a good product with themselves, or they're very skillful in providing the services. I just want some mantras from you, because you might be having a good location, maybe you have a good ambience of your restaurant, or maybe you have all the facilities along with you that you should. Your presentation might be nice, but still people are not able to flock the customers, you know. So what effective brand strategies you deploy in order to read the minds of the customers? So I just wanted to know some mantras that how to position the brand in the minds of the customer.
Thanks for that question. I think the art or craft of branding there is a lot of science behind it as well, right? So I was fortunate, I think most of you know me because of a brand that was already iconic, right? Starbucks is something that a lot of people waited in this country for. But what is important to understand is that how are you going to strike that relationship? And whether it's the Tata brand, or even while I was at the Taj, or later at Nature's Basket, I think the first and the foremost principle that you have to understand is it's a trust-building relationship, right? So you have to be extremely authentic about what problem of the consumer you are solving. Starbucks is not delivering you a great cup of coffee. That it does. What it's giving you is a space and a sense of community when you go within a store, right? So the entire model or the brand really is about relationship building with the consumer. And it may sound very simple, but honestly, every barista that you see at the store actually goes through intensive training because they come from a very different walk of life to the consumer that they are serving. How do you bridge the balance so that they look you into the eye, wish you a good morning, ask you which coffee you like, and try and get to you at a humanity level, at a human level they are connecting with you. So the brand is about connection. And even as you think about your own product or service, think about building extremely authentic relationship with the consumer. And authenticity comes from decluttering whatever you're offering. So one is authenticity, and it comes from decluttering the problem that you're solving. If you look at any iconic brand in the world, it will never have more than 4 or 5 words. Even 3 were a lot. Because the kind of attention that consumers give you today, and it has changed. When you and I were younger, I'm assuming a lot of us are contemporaries, we did watch a 60-second commercial or a 30-second commercial. My 16-year-old doesn't give any brand more than 3 seconds, right? Yes. So if you're unable to find authentic relationships and declutter what you're offering, I think then you cannot even get ticket to entry into the race, in my view. What does decluttering mean? It means understanding what you stand for and very simply stating it. Your agencies or your creative talent can give you great ways to build a brand, right? But if you're not able to be crisp and you're not able to communicate that in 3 seconds, I think it's very difficult to build an enduring brand. The third important thing is that, you know, a brand, when you think about the consumer's mind, of course, there is a lot that is going on in people's life. But your brand needs to stand for much more than the problem it is solving. What I mean by that is that we all love fashion, right? We all wear different sort of fashion brands. Think of your favorite fashion brand and think of it not just the quality of the clothing or the makeup or the jewelry that you're wearing. It's not just the quality. It is always building a deeper relationship with you. And that is always emotional. Whether you like it or not, most valuable brands or companies in the world are built on fundamental emotions. And it's nothing new. If you Google it, you'll find a lot of podcasts about it. But in India, that becomes very relevant. And one of my learnings, humbly, I wasn't involved with the brand. It was a famous brand, Nano. It was about the human spirit. It came from a very good place that Tata Motors wanted to give the country a brand because they didn't want them to, you know, face the hardships. But when they tried to tell the Indian consumer that it is the cheapest car, not a single person who was behind the brand realized that they are insulting the Indian consumer, right? You do not want to be found dead in that car. It was so iconic. I mean, it was a great learning, and I speak very humbly because I think, of course, the Tata Group has achieved a lot. It's at a different scale in the decades that I've associated with it. But I think we cannot forget that human beings, consumers are at the end of the day just like you and me. And therefore, what you try and tell them in that 3 seconds has to be rooted in respect, and it has to be rooted in emotion. And that is very difficult. Trust me. Because you will try and develop a product that you think solves a problem, but if you forget the emotion behind it, and specifically in a country like ours, if you forget respecting the Indian consumer, believe me, you cannot succeed. And I can tell you very humbly that when we started Starbucks, we were very clear that Indians are only going to come back to the store and make it a habit if we make the stores not like that they look in New York, not like that they look in South Korea, but rooted in the Indian philosophy. So if you go to the stores, and even today, you will find the artistry or some part of India, some part of your region in that store. I cannot sell a samosa in a Starbucks because the Indian consumer doesn't come to taste India. He has Haldiram or the local guy to go and taste that. So what is the food program was also done with a lot of respect to what the palate likes. While there are standard products like a muffin or a croissant, we also tried to get Indian flavors in it. And believe me, when we spoke to consumers, they actually said, I am getting a flavor of the US brand, but I also love it that you respected me and my heritage. So I think the equation in India or in any Eastern culture which has got, we're not 200, 300-year-old civilization. Our civilization is more than 5,000 years old, right? So for us, respecting that is very, very important. So please build your brands around authenticity. You have to declutter your mind to be able to find space in the mind of the consumer. And thirdly, it may not be fashionable to say it, but you have to be deeply respectful of the consumer. The minute you treat that respect with frivolity, you're going to fail. And I think you should fail because the Indian consumer, when they love you, with all their heart and their soul. So look at the most successful brands and forget fashion, lifestyle, or Starbucks. One of the most successful companies that I deeply respect is DMart, right? They understand why people shop, what is the quality that they require, and they give it to you. It's not that they're selling anything cheap. You will never find the DMart store only saying that we give you products at the cheapest. They're actually respecting our mindset that we are value conscious, and they celebrate that. Right? So please think about your brands in terms of authenticity, declutter your head before you talk to your consumer, and never forget emotion and respect.
Wow, that's great. Wow. One very prominent question that almost every entrepreneur right now sitting here is scalability. Everybody has got that franchisee model, how to go ahead in the franchisee model. And I read in some book written by M.J. DeMarco that it is the law of affection that you goes. To make millions, you have to impact millions. So people are really looking forward for the franchisee model. But there is an irony that Starbucks has never gone for the franchisee model. So just viewers want to know that is there any other way for the scalability? How do we impact millions in order to make millions?
I think for me, the question of scale is very important, especially for younger entrepreneurs who are trying to build their brands in the D2C space, right? Direct-to-consumer space. And you will hear a lot about technology. I need to have a great social media strategy. I need to have, amazing connect with the consumer, and that only happens if I have influencers. What you need to understand is that great brands, what you see as a consumer is only the last 10 feet. Pick up Apple, pick up Starbucks. It is about the 90 feet that you go beyond it. So if I tell you a little bit about Starbucks, the first 6 months when we started that company in India was not about the store location. It was about getting coffee to India, which is consistent. And believe me, if you import the Starbucks coffee, you pay 100% duty on it. So it wasn't a viable model. It wasn't a scalable model. So to me, getting your supply chain right and the back end is very important. The non-sexy part of the business is where you need to focus on, technology and supply chain. So before you strike a relationship with your consumers, make sure that you have a great relationship with your suppliers, whether you're in service industry or you're in the product industry. All of you must have tasted the iconic Frappuccino in Starbucks. The cream that you see, which is so delicious, when we started the market, there wasn't a single dairy manufacturer in the country, and I love the dairy industry. I think it's a case study for the world to learn from India. 100% dairy cream that could withstand and stay in that position so that the consumer, enjoys the delicious beverage was actually not available in India. The reason is we have a mixed milk country, and in every possible cream product that we saw, we found vegetable oils. And that was a no for us. So we took a lot of time, and we were amazed with the innovation at the ground level. It wasn't the biggies in the dairy industry who helped us crack the problem. There were entrepreneurs up north and in south that we worked. We actually worked for 6 months to get that product right. Even the milk that you try is 100% cow milk. We're a country where at the collection center milk is mixed because we work on a cooperative model. So why I'm telling you all of this is because the 90 feet that you walk as a brand owner or as an entrepreneur are far more important. Only then will you be able to successfully stand in front of the consumer and deliver a consistent experience. And the last piece, which is again the non-sexy part, I'm not talking about social or digital media. I think we take technology for granted. And again, we look at it only in terms of younger people, older people making payments or having conversations. I think what technology can do for scale is really, really important for everyone to understand. If you think about the kind of information that large brands are using today to be able to deliver their service or product is incredible. So I think the power of data, and for example, a very successful retailer which I admire is Vedant Fashion. The brand is Manyavar, and it is one of the only Indian brands and probably one in the world that does not have wastage. All of you who are in, I think Mr. Rati himself is in the textile business. Brands spend so much money, but they discount their brands, they have wastages. This guy uses technology to understand how consumers shop and therefore stocks the product in his stores in such a way that he has a low single-digit wastage. And that is incredible power of technology. Having so many different stores across the country and to be able to deliver that. So to my mind, I think the supply chain part and the technology should not be taken lightly by any entrepreneur who wants to succeed.
Great. I read a very fantastic line while I was reading your article. We are not into the coffee business serving people. We are into the people business serving coffee. That was an article. इसको हिंदी में भी बोलूँगी. हम कॉफी के बिजनेस में नहीं हैं जो लोगों को सर्व करते हैं. हम लोगों के बिजनेस में हैं जो कॉफी सर्व करते हैं. So it's ultimately the customers who are the epicenters of the business. And I guess for customers, to fetch the loyal customers into the business, you need to have a very strong team. You need to build a very strong team. So what is the first quality that impresses you, Avani, when you hire or when you recruit? And what are your mantras or tips for building a strong team?
I think it's amazing how the founder, and if some of you Google it, you will find it, that the Starbucks founder was actually inspired to build a company which would not treat, his father was a veteran and died actually because he didn't have medical insurance, Howard Schultz's father. So his entire passion to build this company was to ensure that people who work at the stores are not left behind, that they achieve something in life that they are proud to. Therefore, the model of this company actually rests on training, retraining, and most importantly, making sure that the people who deliver the coffee are happier than the customers. Only then will they be able to make the customers happy, right? And a lot of companies across the world today, even in India, are focusing on the employees in a big way. So I know for a fact that even large IT companies, and you've seen post-COVID that they've had a huge problem how to retain these young people. So in my mind, how do you treat your employee, I think comes from a very deep sense of what is the philosophy of why you started your business and why do you exist. And you can very well say you exist to get a great valuation or you exist to make the most iconic brand in the world. But if your purpose is much deeper than that, I think you will have the ability to not only scale, but to sustain a model for a longer time. And therefore, when I think about building teams or when I think about people who serve the consumers and bring an experience to life, I think passion is very important. And the second thing that one looks for is grit. It's not just the determination to win, but it is not giving up in the face of all difficulties. And I think a lot of younger people today I have a 16-year-old, and I'm very, frivolously I say, you guys don't have grit. And what do I mean by that is that you have to be relentless if you want to really succeed in life. And if you want to build a great team, it's not the person who always gives you the right answer, but always the person who's willing to slog it out to find the right answer until you, are at a standstill. And I'll tell you, I had the fortune of working with a lot of people like that who have that grit. When we had an issue in Starbucks, and you would assume that with a backing like Tata and Starbucks, we wouldn't have problems. But the FSSAI laws changed in the country, and believe me, we couldn't serve any customer anything more than black coffee. Even decaf coffee was not permitted during that time because they changed the regulation, and it is for the good. You can't, you can't argue with the lawmaker. But I had a team who worked for 6 months, and we were the only company, only market in the Starbucks history to localize 95% of the beverage ingredients. And that happened not just because the team was fantastic, but because of this grit that we are not going to, say, it could have been very easy for us to say, we're not going to be able to import, so, let's try and find a middle solution. Let's import from an Eastern country. The team actually went down to basics and recrafted all those products. We convinced global suppliers to set up shop in India for us. So I think passion, grit are the two very most, for me, the most important attributes or soft skills that people
Great.
need.
So it's to remember passion and grit. Now we have actually finished with the session. I just want to open the session for the audience. If they have some query or questions related to their brand, we can take a few questions. Yeah, please.
Hello. I do not have a question. I would say I have a compliment. So I work for waste management. The WM is North America's biggest waste management company. And we have an office in Brilliant, just the next building. So we have a lot of people who come from US. So just in the month of Feb, we had 5 team members who came from US. They were here for over a week, and we were giving them all the flavors of India. And they were super excited and happy to have poha, jalebi, and all those stuff. On 6th day, that lady told me, I want to have a Starbucks coffee. Do you have Starbucks in Indore? I said yes, but I'm not sure if it would taste the same. So, but still I said, okay, let's go to Starbucks. And there she was like, oh, this is great, and I can relate it to America. So I would like to congratulate to bring that flavor to India, and all those compliments to us Indians. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm just ending up the session because she's the reservoir, and since we have the time constraints, and our thirst will never be quenched. So thank you so much, Avani. Thank you so much for your valuable insights. Thank you so much for coming down here at the second Leadership Women Conclave organized by IMA. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We would like to say a massive thank you to Avani Davda for gracing us with her wisdom and wit today. Your insights have been the perfect blend of inspiration and innovation, just like a brewed coffee. Your journey is not just impressive, it's a magnificent. We have learned that when it comes to leadership, you are the espresso of excellence. So thank you, Avani, for making our event not only informative, but also a latte fun. We raised our virtual coffee cups to you. Thank you, Ms. Ishani. Your skillful moderation added depth and clarity to our session. Now we express our gratitude to our sponsors who spiced up our event like never before. Yes, it's a Dawai Masala. And another sponsorship has truly been the bank of inspiration for all of us. Yes, it's Canara Bank. So let's give a round of applause to our sponsors for their fantastic and spectacular contribution to this conclave. Thank you so much.